Good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to day two. Let me get everyone in over here. Okay. 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 We are here. Welcome to day two. Oh, let me get on YouTube so I can monitor the chat. Let me get on so I can talk to y'all. So we can talk to each other. Okay. Okay, we live. All right. I'm just gonna give it a few more seconds until it hits 6 o'clock.
It's 6 o'clock.
Okay. Listen, Siri gonna get me right every single time. She's going to get me right every single time. And so, welcome to day two of the Build Without Burnout 3-day reset for women CEOs who doing way too much. You got a lot on your plate, and that's why you're here because day two, we're going to be kicking off with some practical things that literally, if you actually come and implement and execute and do the thing that I'm going to walk you through today, you're going to see how you can save 10 to 15 hours in your week. And I'm not exaggerating there. I am not exaggerating. I literally have seen people do this over and over and over again. The clients who I work with every single month, as well as those who I work with on a one on one basis. And so, this is not the time for you to like have your notebook and think you're going to be able to do it. You're probably going to want the workbook, okay, for this date. If not yesterday, for today, you're going to want to have the workbook so that you can literally write yours inside of the page for today. Same thing with tomorrow, okay? So if you haven't already, go and get the workbook. It's at www.theempireeffectagency.com/workbook. Okay. You're going to want to make sure you have that one for tonight's session. So let me know, y'all. Day one was amazing. It was all about awareness. It was all about letting you all really be able to see the things that you got going on, all of the invisible roles that you are literally doing every single day, the things that you know you're doing, the things that you don't even realize that you're doing, right? And then we talked about all of the tasks that come with all of those roles. And we just began to see like how much we really are carrying, right? Day one, we talked about the rocking horse syndrome, and how the rocking horse goes back and forth, and makes no progress. And that's how many of us show up in business, in life. We're doing a lot. We look like we're very productive, and yet we're not reaching our goals. And yet we're not doing the thing that we said that we were going to do. And how busyness does not equal um, progress. It doesn't equals success. You can have a lot on your plate and still not get anything accomplished. But you look busy though. And we've put a badge of honor on looking busy, and we think that it's okay. And so let me know, give me your key takeaway from yesterday, whether it was from the morning session or the evening session. Drop your biggest takeaway from yesterday. I got a lot of feedback. I got some emails that I've been responding to. I got some voice memos that I've been responding to. I've gotten a good chunk of feedback on how day one has gone for people. So let me know, what's your biggest takeaway? And then for those of you who joined this morning session. This morning session was the kickoff for today's session and all that we're going to be doing. So this morning we talked about Mary and Martha. And so many of us are familiar with Mary and Martha's story, but this morning I highlighted a few things about their story that we usually don't like to focus in on, but we really can relate to. Okay, Velvet said the rocking chair syndrome was very eye opening. Amy said clarity on the overwhelmed antecedents. Yes. So I had my education, my background is in applied behavior analysis. And so I talked about the ABC method. So when we're looking to change behavior, we identify what the behavior is and identify what happened immediately before the behavior occurred and then what was the consequence. And then we use those things to change the behavior. And so, yes, clarity on the overwhelm for antecedents. And then going back to this morning, we talked about Mary and Martha and how, many of us really are just like Martha, right? And I don't know about y'all, but it says that Jesus didn't go to Mary's house. He didn't come to Mary's house. He came to Martha's house. And I don't know about y'all, but maybe some of y'all can relate that when you have people coming over, or even when you have a cleaner coming over, like you tend to try to like clean up before the cleaner come. Let me know if y'all can relate to that. Or maybe you're in that boat of like when somebody's coming to your house, even if your house isn't nasty, you're like trying to make sure everything is put together, right? Let me make sure there's no trash. It's an empty trash bag in my trash can. Like there's a lot that you're doing just to make sure everything is put together. And so by default, we can justify and be like, well, Mary literally had the King of Kings, right? Coming into her house. She literally had Jesus himself coming. And so by default, it's like, well, why wouldn't she be hospitable? Why wouldn't she be doing all of those things? But we always have to look at Jesus' response, right? Because it said that Mary was distracted, right? She was distracted with much serving. With much serving. Imagine Jesus coming to you and say, listen, you actually are distracted by all the serving that you're doing. And she could have been like, well, Jesus, I'm doing this for you. And then imagine him coming and saying, listen, you're distracted by all this serving that you're doing for me because only one thing is required. He told her, he said, listen, you're worried and you're troubled about many things. Mary is the least of your problems. She's the least of your concerns. And so we have so much going on. We have a lot on our plate. And so today, I'm going to help you reclaim your time. I know we've often heard so much about like time is one of the most valuable resources that you can't get back. I'm going to show you how you can reclaim your time. And we're going to do it live on this call. I'm going to walk you all through it. And so make sure you have the workbook. And then for homework, let me know if y'all did your homework. Somebody said it's no sound. Can y'all hear me? Let me know. Let me know if you all can hear me. Okay, y'all can hear me? We're good. We're good. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So, homework. Let me know in the chat if you did your homework. The homework was very simple. Okay, y'all can hear me. Got it. The homework was very simple. One, it was to grab all of your calendars because you're going to need it for what we're going to do today. And then the second thing was gather your top three goals for the rest of the year. So, what were the three things that you wanted to accomplish? And it could have been one or two, but if you had three, like I don't want you to try to focus on five things for Q4, right? So, grab all of your calendars. And then also, Identify what your top three goals were. That was the homework. Let me know if y'all did y'all homework. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. So yesterday we talked about the weight that we did not sign up for, but we was carrying it anyway. And today I'm going to give you the calendar hack that I actually use that can literally free up 10 to 15 plus hours in your week. And so yesterday we talked about how many hours you needed to go on vacation. Like, what would you do if you had an extra 40 hours in your month, right? If you had an extra 40 hours in your month, people are like, yeah, I'm finna go travel. I'm about to start meal prepping. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna write my book and I'm not gonna procrastinate on it. I'm gonna be able to write it and finish it and launch it in a week, right? And so I saw all of this great things, right? Yesterday was all about belief and possibility. And so we were imagining all of the things that we could do if we had simply 40 hours in our week. We were talking about all of the things we could do if we had 120 hours in quarter 4. And so I'm about to help you do that tonight. Again, if you do not have the workbook, it's going to be much, 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 much easier for you to just get the workbook so that you can fill it out as we go. Yes, kudos to all of you who did the homework. This is what I'm talking about. The scholars are in the building. Guess what? The scholars are the one who see the results. The scholars produce the results. On day 1, Diana told us, listen, if you want to see change, you have to actually execute. Let me tell y'all. I don't know if y'all can see my shirt because I can't even see me on here. Let me pull myself back up. Okay. It says pray, plan, execute, and repeat. Listen, I designed this shirt and I made this shirt. Okay. I did this shirt in about 2019, 2020. It says pray, plan, execute, repeat. And no, I do not sell it, so don't ask me. I do not sell it anymore. But everything starts with prayer, right? And then you have to write the vision and make it plain, right? You have to develop your plan. And then you have to actually, let me go back, execute. I don't know if y'all can see it. You have to execute. And then that's your system. You keep doing that in all that you do. And so here we are. We're coming to execute tonight. Okay. So with I don't know, with an emoji in the comments, let me know how many of you put everything on your calendar. How many of you put everything on your calendar? I should have brought my paper calendar because I have my digital calendars and then I also use a paper calendar just to help me every morning remember everything because I can go on my digital calendar on my laptop and look and see what's all on my plate, but it's just different when I just write it down every single morning because it kind of helps me remember like, okay, this is what you got on your plate. These are all of the things. And so it's like that just extra piece of memory. How many of you do that? She was like, it was so much. Listen, and that's what we're here for because why? Right? One of the things we talked about yesterday was when you're doing that task audit, you really have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why is this on my plate? And I'm looking over here because this is where my chat is. So it's looking like I'm talking over here to the people in my chat. But listen, if you're like, listen, I can't even finish my task audit because it's too much. I know I'm missing something. You got a lot on your plate. You're doing way too much. And you have to go piece by piece by piece, task by task by task, and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I sweeping? Right? I talked to y'all about the sweeping of my floor. Why am I sweeping? Can someone else do it 80% better than you? Can it be automated? Can it be systematized? Is it something that you do all of the time and you can put it in a process and train someone on how to do it for you? Did you do it because no one else was doing it, so you picked it up by default? Are you doing it because you have overcommitted to doing things and you say yes? Is it a boundary issue? And so you really have to take your task by task, and really get to the bottom of what you're doing and why. Right? And so I'm that person, I put everything on my calendar. My husband is in the chat and he will let you know. If it's not on my calendar, it does not exist. It does not exist to me. It's not in the forefront. And I got a lot on my plate. I got a lot of little people I'm responsible for, right? I have clients whose businesses I'm responsible for. Not in a sense, because, and when I say that, let me be clear. When I work with my clients, I really do treat their business as if it's my own. And so I have responsibility even for my clients' businesses because I don't play about my clients' business. Why? Daughter of the king, right? Integrity. I understand that the work that I do for my clients is a reflection on who I serve. And so I have to operate in a level of excellence. Why? Because the moment I start falling off, now people, right, could easily be like, oh, she said she was a Jesus girly. That'd be the first thing they identify you at. She said she was a Jesus girly and she coming up here and not showing up excellently, ready to just throw you up under the bus and keep driving, right? And so for me, if it's not on my calendar, it don't exist. Or it's not a priority in this season. Okay? It's not a priority in this season. So I want to talk to y'all about the My Align Week framework. This is my signature framework that I literally, what I'm going to do with y'all is literally what I walk through my clients with one on one. Okay? We're going to do it as a group and virtually. If you want to do it one on one with me so that I can walk you through your personal details, your personal tasks, one on one, so you can ask questions and I can get to the nitty gritty of your things, let me know. Email me, respond to one of them newsletters I sent you, and we'll talk about that later. But this is something that I literally do. Why? Because day 2 is all about alignment. When we talk about alignment, I'm talking about coming into agreement, right, with God's plans, with his priorities, with his will, and with his timing, right? Anything outside of that is just extra. Anything outside of that is busy work. Focus on the things that are aligned, and then everything else comes secondary. He says, seek ye first the kingdom and all of its righteousness, then everything else will be added. Same principles. This is all about alignment. Okay. And so I'm going to really break down this framework that I use so you can understand. And then I'm going to talk about some key components and then we're going to get into the work. Okay. So there's 3 key shifts inside of the My Align Week, which is what we're going to be developing for everyone today. We'll talk, Amy, in VIP, we'll talk about how all of this works on a limited budget. What we're going to do today is going to support you out. It's going to support you because I hear you. A lot of times that's the thing, right? I don't have enough money to pay someone. I can't afford this. It's not affordable right now. I can't hire someone yet, right? And so I'm going to show you how you can find the time that you might think you don't have. And so today we're going to identify time wasters, the things that are hidden. We're going to do all of those things. Okay. Okay. And so key shift number 1 is time awareness, right? In the My Align Week, we audit your current week, right? This is the thing that you started yesterday with the task audit. So every single week, what are the tasks that you're doing? And so that's key shift number one. This is one of the things that we start off in my align week. And then we do time alignment. And so if you realize, day one, we talked about awareness. Day two, which is today, we talk about alignment, right? And so that's when we're actually building out your calendar. We're building out your week from Sunday to Saturday, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. We're literally mapping that out. And we're matching your calendar with your vision, with your goals, with your priorities, with your values, right? And this is what you're going to do today. And then the third shift is time activation. And so day three, it'll be all about action and taking action. Okay, so time activation, that's when we actually decide based on all of the tasks, based on our calendar, what it is that we need to delegate, automate, eliminate, or keep on our plate. Okay. I love this whole community in the chat, like y'all talking to each other. I love that for y'all. Listen, we need community. Okay, so we talked about the three key shifts, right? Time awareness, time alignment, and then time activation. And now I want to ask you all, who believes that structure equal restriction? Who is of the thought that if if I time block, if I put all of these boundaries around my schedule, that I feel restricted? I feel like there's no flexibility because I've worked with people and they're like, this is uncomfortable for me. It's uncomfortable for me to build out my dream week. It's uncomfortable for me to build out my aligned week because I feel like it's too rigid for me. I want to be like, what's it called? Like you just want to go with the flow. And so when I hear people be like, well, it's too rigid. I want to go with the flow. That's why you on this call. That's why we doing this right now because you've been going with the flow too long. Right? That's why we're on this call because there's no boundaries. Something is not right. That's why I tell people, listen, if you want the next 90 days to look different from the last 90 days, the habits that you were doing in the last 90 days cannot go with you in the next 90 days. You need the structure. You need the order. Okay, so let me tell y'all. Again, for those of you who are joining for the first time, I am Ebony. I am the CEO of the Empire Effect Agency. And I want y'all to understand I wear multiple hats, just like everybody in the chat. Okay. I wear a lot of hats myself. Okay. I'm a believer. So that comes with its own hats, right? I'm a wife. That comes with its own tasks and responsibilities. I'm a mom of multiples. That comes with its responsibilities. I'm a founder and a CEO who actually do the work. So I put technician because what that means is I'm not just a CEO in my business where I do the strategy, I do the vision, I plan the offers, I'm like the forefront of the launches, but I also do the work, right? I actually do the work when I support my clients. I'm also an author. I actually love writing books and reading books. I've written multiple books. I'm also an educator. I'm a teacher by nature. I love to educate. But then also, I used to be in education. I was a teacher for 5 years. I taught special education. And then I also have a certification in general education in the areas of math and science. Also, I'm a lifelong learner. I am always learning. I have a sister on here who met me through eCornell Women's Entrepreneurship Program. And then I'm also currently learning more as it relates to business as a part of 1 million Black women. Um, I have two master's degrees, and I'm not saying none of this, y'all, to hype myself up. I really ain't. I just want y'all to understand that I can relate to y'all, right? I'm a house manager. I manage my household well, okay? And then my children are all homeschooled. All three of they tell are homeschooled. And so I wear multiple hats right with y'all. I got a lot going on. Matter of fact, before I came on here, I was on a call with one of my coaches. Okay. Before I got on this call, I'm like, we gonna have to wrap up a little early because I got a challenge at 6 o'clock. She said, okay, I got you. I was off the call with her at 5:45. Just to give it, we all got a lot on our plate. We are without excuse. Okay. And so this is what you're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn how to implement deep work. You're gonna learn how to create effective theme days. You're gonna learn how to align your priorities with your goals. You're going to learn how these actionable tools and strategies are going to help you align your week, right? And then you're going to learn how to be intentional moving forward, right? So I'm not just going to help you align your week and then leave you hanging dry, right? Because by nature, you can just go implement what's on your calendar. But I also want you to be very intentional moving forward. I have people on here who I've done the align week sessions for, and they will tell you you can't just create this aligned week and then go about your day. Why? Because seasons shift, things change, right? New things are added to our plate. And so we always have to go back to those aligned week calendars and readjust based on the season that we're in. And so you have to be intentional moving forward, or the work that we've done, you will go and you will fill up all the empty spaces, right? Okay, let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all because I actually do this in real life, okay? And so this is one of my clients. This is one of my longest lasting clients. We did an align week session, and she was like, listen, the align week session was extremely helpful in attaching my weekly hours to the quarterly goals set. It made it easy to see how much I do and where there were areas that need established and protected blocks to achieve the goals set. It's one thing to set goals, it's another thing to make sure your calendar reinforces your commitment to successfully completing those goals. And so, me and Tansy, we've been working together for a good little minute now. We do strategic planning sessions. We did the Align Week session, and she was of the thought that like she didn't have enough time to do all of these things. When we did the Align Week session, we got clear on those theme days. Right now, my client is traveling. Okay, she's not in meetings. She is traveling and is about to be out of the country. Okay, why can't she do that? Because she got support. Because she is not working 40 hours a week in her business. Because she developed a week where she doesn't have to be in the weeds of things. Okay, not only that, one of the things that I do with my clients is I send newsletters, right? And in these newsletters, I'm always finding additional resources and things that I think can support them. And so one of those things, and I keep looking over here because I'm talking to the chat, but let me look over here at y'all because, okay. So one of the things that I do is I offer additional resources. I'm always reading books. And so if I read a book, I'm like, oh, this can help my client. Let me tell you, I think it's so important to be a service provider that is very resourceful and who is not a gatekeeper, right? I want me to win. I want everybody connected to me to win, and I need my clients to win, right? And so this is her saying, after I had sent her a recommendation for a book, she finished the book and then she told her whole mastermind group about the book. And they do these trips, and she's like, when we go on our trip, we're gonna be discussing it, and like we had a whole conversation about it. But like these are the things that my clients are able to do because they're not in the weeds of things in their business. Now they're all about to take a trip, and during this trip, they're gonna be discussing this book that I recommended to her because I'm like, oh, she needs to read this book. Okay, so let's talk about deep work because this is one of the things that I'm going to teach you all when we begin doing the calendar work. So, deep work for those of you who haven't heard it, listen, we all can win. We all can win. Deep work, okay, is focused, uninterrupted work on important tasks, on aligned tasks that only you can do. All right. If y'all watch day one morning session, we talked about Jethro. We talked about Moses. And we heard the instruction, the wise counsel that came forth that said, listen, delegate, and all these people, they gonna handle the small matters. And only the big matters that need to come to you are the things you need to focus on. Okay. And so when it comes to deep work, this is when you are spending intentional time to focus in, right? And like I told y'all, this is not something that I just talk about. This is something that I implement even in my own business. And so, one of the things that I decided to do at the beginning of this year was to do deep work. And one of the things that I do for my deep work is CEO time blocks. So every week, I'm making sure I'm not just working in my business, but I'm working on my business. And so I create my agendas on a weekly basis, and I'm going to give my time block an assignment, right? So I don't just say, oh, I'm going to focus on CEO planning on Mondays at 9 a.m., right? I have to give it an assignment because if I don't give it an assignment on Mondays during my CEO planning time block, I'll be sitting there, you know, doing anything. And so you can see on September 22nd, I'm up here quarter four preparation. I'm finalizing all of the details for this challenge that we're in right now. And then on September 29th, next Monday, all I'm doing is talking about October launch readiness. This is what you can do when you deep work, right? You can focus in. You can focus in on marketing. You can focus in on any department in your business. You can do deep work when it comes to writing your books, right? Many people use deep work to write their books in less than 90 days. And so this is something that you want to implement. Let me check out the yes, the chat. Okay. 1 second, guys. Okay, I tried to look professional with this blazer, but the office that I'm in, they turned off the AC. And so now I'm hot and I'm choking. Okay. Okay, so let's get back into it. Theme days. So we talked about deep work and now theme days. This is when you're giving um your day an assignment, right? You can also do this with time blocks, and I'm gonna show you like exactly what that looks like. Okay. And so this is usually the spreadsheet that I pull up with my clients when I'm doing a one-on-one session. Hey, Ash. Hey, girl. Hey. Okay. So this is the spreadsheet that I pull up when I do those one-on-one sessions. Okay. And then I'm showing you all specifically the things, right? Just so you can have like an understanding and an example of what that actually looks like. So on Sunday, most of you are like, Yeah, I go to church on Sundays, or Sunday is a family day. And so that would be the theme. Let me tell you the importance of themes. When I know that, let's say, Tuesday is a client day, when someone's like, hey girl, can we go after eat? I'm gonna be like, what day? They're gonna be like Tuesday. I'm like, can't do Tuesday, right? Because I kind of already have a general understanding of what my day is gonna look like based on the theme, right? If I know Mondays are CEO day, if someone's like, hey, can I meet with you? Hey, can I meet with you? Then I'm like, not on Monday, because that's me focusing in on my business, right? And so this could look very different based on what you're doing, what your business is, how your life is ran. And then I mentioned you can also do things by time block. So usually, especially if you're like a mom, things of that nature, usually that morning time is going to consist of your devotion time, working out. Some of you might clean your house as soon as you wake up, getting your children ready for school. So usually that morning time block is usually like self and family. And then you get into your work day. Like, it really just depends on how you operate, right? But having the themes gives you like that overarching understanding of like what goes in each day. And so hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if y'all have questions in the chat and I will answer them. And then of course VIP, we gonna get on and we gonna talk about the things. We gonna talk about y'all specific questions. But if you have any questions, let me know and I will answer them. All right, let me hide this again. All right, so I want you all to take 3 minutes and write out your 5 to 7 theme days. You can do it for Sunday through Saturday. You can do it for Monday through Friday. But write down your 5 if you're doing Monday through Friday, and your 7 if you're doing Sunday to Saturday theme days. And these can change. Like, after we actually go through the day-to-day calendar things, your theme days may change based on what you're actually doing, because you might be like, oh yeah, Sunday family day, but then you realize from the time you get out of the church, let's say on average people get out of church at like, I don't know, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. um so let's say from 12 o'clock to 8 o'clock you working on your business, or you're prepping for the following week. Then yours may not fully be church or ministry. It may be your CEO day plus church. So you can have multiple themes, but you don't want to go over having two. So if I go back, you'll see how, like on Saturday, I want to spend time and focus on myself and do something for myself, but I also use that as family day. Can I share the one-on-one? Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Virtual Transaction Solutions. What is your name? Because I can reach out to you directly, or if you send me an email, um, I will reach out to you directly. But yes, um, write your theme day. So let me know when you have your theme day so I can move forward. But this is going to be very general. It's literally a category for your day. Okay, Tawana, we'll talk in VIP and I can send you the link. And I'll also be sending the link to that one-on-one in the recap email as well. So yeah, let me know when you have your 3 to 5 minutes to write out your 5 to 7 theme days, or not when you have your 3 to 5 minutes, but when you're done with it. Should you start your week with planning out the week? So I reckon, like, it depends on what you mean by start your week, like on Sunday or Monday. That's up to you. But I do like to start my week planning out my week. And I think once you're gonna depending on what your week looks like. So I'm someone who I generally knows what Sunday through Saturday is gonna look like on Sunday. My stuff is so systematized that all of my meetings are usually the exact same week to week to week. And then when there's any like one-off meetings, like if someone books like an alignment call, because I also have that thing blocked off, I also know when they could potentially, you know, be on my calendar. But yes, I definitely believe that you should start your week out planning. And that just sets the intention of your week, right? Now, if you're planning on a Monday morning or a Sunday night, now you're going into your week and you're not scrambling trying to figure out what it is you need to do. You're not, forgetting anything. You're very clear. So you go into your week with clarity. I do believe a lot of people, or Monday in general, has gotten a bad rep, right? Where people like, oh, it's Monday. I need an extra day in my week. And I usually believe that that's due to a lack of preparation because you didn't prepare properly. Now, when Monday comes, it's like, oh, it's Monday. What am I doing? I don't want to get up, right? But when we prepare properly, I be loving Mondays because I know I'm finna work on my business. Like now, my Mondays are packed with meetings. So now I'm like, okay, I don't have to be like going to my calendar on Monday and I'm like, oh, I got 6 meetings today, back to back to back. And I'm feeling some type of way because I already prepared. I already knew what was coming. For some of you, if you don't like to plan your weeks on Sunday, um, and you're like, I don't have time on Monday, another thing you can do is prepare on like Friday. So if you notice, Friday, I do like a review. And this is one of my old theme days. But on Fridays, I do like a review of my week. So I'm like, okay, what all did I accomplish this week? Let me do a recap. If I have clients where I need to send them like weekly reports, I'm gonna do that there. And then I also try to look ahead. So my review also includes looking ahead for what's going on the next week. I wish I would have had my agenda, my planner that I have, because I would be able to show you like physically my calendar to where I've already mapped out next week. And no, Darius, if you're watching, you do not have to bring it. It is okay. Yes, see, Paige said the one-on-one is life changing. Okay, I hope y'all got y'all theme days. If you don't, and you're like, I don't know what my theme days should be, here go you some examples. Okay, it can be family, it can be church, it can be self-care, it can be admin, right? For some of you who are solopreneurs and you're in every department of your business, you might want to focus in on like making each day um the thing for each day is a department in your business, right? Depending on if you could do that. I don't know what your bandwidth is and what if you're in meetings all day. I highly do not recommend being in meetings all day long unless you have days where you're not in any meeting. So Monday, like my Monday, this past Monday, I was on calls from my first call was at 9 a.m. and then I ended because I did a workshop in one of my clients' communities. So that call ended around 8 o'clock. So from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., I was in meetings or doing a workshop. Now, that doesn't mean they were all back to back to back. I still had like some time blocks in between where I could, like, be with my children and do all of the things. But I do not recommend, and I also have no meeting days as well. And so if you're someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do back to back to back to back meetings, I only recommend that if you have 1 or 2 days that you have no meetings. How do I determine which things go on the left side and on the top row? And so Good question. Good question. And so the thing that goes above your weekday is the thing that covers the entire day, right? So on Sundays, I know it's church and family. That's all day Sunday, no matter what this is, right? Now, usually these, for me, it represents my Monday through Friday, right? And so I have work here and work here, but I'm not doing that on a Sunday. And so, listen, you all can literally personalize this and make this your own. And so, if you have the workbook, you have a copy of this blank spreadsheet in there where you can just fill it out, right? You can make copies of it, what have you. I also can send it out to everyone in a recap email. But yeah, so that's how you determine. The one at the top of the weekday, it covers the entire day. And then this one is more so for that time period. So from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., I know that this is going to look like me spending time with myself and my family. And not necessarily spending time, but that means okay, this is when you're doing your morning routines. This is when you're doing getting the boys ready for school. This is when you're doing your devotional time. This is the time frame, okay, for that. For me, when this schedule was active, I would work in the mornings, and then I knew between 12:30 and 1:30 is lunchtime. I'm gonna be needed in my household. I'm gonna have to make lunch, things of that nature. Tawana, you should have the book, but I'll you have the workbook. And so this is here and it's blank. But I'll send you this one as well. And so yeah, that's how it goes for the side. These are specifically for these time frames. This is for the entire day. And then these are all of the examples. So make sure you write out your particular theme days for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay, yes, ma'am. Take a screenshot. Okay, and then we have goal task alignment. That's all day two is about, right? We talked about alignment is agreement, but it's not just agreement with anything and everything, it's agreement with God's plan, with his priorities, with his will, with his timing, right? And out of that place, you're going to get your goals, the things that you should be focused on. I like to focus on annual goals when I'm doing these. Like, what's your 3 annual goals? But for the sake of this training and for the sake of gaining momentum, I want you all to focus on quarter four, right? For the next 90 or so days, we're going to build out your week. Okay. And so goal task alignment simply means you're going to only do tasks that are in alignment with the goals that you set. So your week should look like that. Okay. So it's this process of ensuring that all of your individual tasks are directly contributing to or are clearly linked to your overarching goal. Right. And so some people call this like focusing on your big rocks. We're going to talk about priority mapping. We're going to do an alignment check. And so I'm going to walk you through those things on this call. And so when it comes to priority mapping, okay, priority mapping for me is when I take my annual goals, I break down those big goals, and I usually prioritize 3 of them. Some people, they have one for every aspect, every department, every category, and you can go as wide as you need to. But for the sake of focusing in and locking in, I want you to only focus on 3. And of course, we're going to just do quarter four. But your quarter four goals should be directly um, attached to your annual goals. All right. And so you have your annual goals, your quarterly milestones, and then those monthly targets. And they're all feeding into one another. And so if you have a piece of paper, right? If you got the workbook, this is already in there like this. But if you just have a piece of paper, I just want you to label, break it up into three sections, right? One is your annual goals, the second one is your quarterly goals, and the third is your monthly goals. And I want you to map out let's start at two, like the section two, for the sake of time and for the sake of what we're trying to do for the actual weekly build out. We're going to start at two, and the goals that you did for your homework, put them there. So for homework, you're supposed to bring your three goals for the rest of the year. List those on section two. Okay, I got you, Tawana. And so now that you have your three goals for the rest of the year, you're now going to, in the section three, break those down into monthly targets, right? And so let's say, for an example, off the top of my head, let's say I wanted to make, and this is going to be super basic because I did not plan an example, but let's say my quarterly goal for quarter four is to make $6,000, right? I want to make $6,000 for, not me, but as an example, $6,000 for quarter four. Okay. My monthly target, right, for October, November, and December would be I need to make at least $2,000 each month. So for October, I need to make $2,000. If I hit that goal, then in November, I just need to make $2,000. If I hit that goal, now I'm tracking with my goal. And then in December, I make $2,000. I hit my goal, right? For you, you might be like, I want to self publish my book and launch it, right? In quarter four. If that's the case, what are you doing in October, in November, in December to help you do that? Are you writing the book? If so, how many pages per day? How many pages per week? You might be like, oh, I need to edit. Okay, how many chapters are you editing per week? You may be, oh, I need the cover design. Okay, in month one, if you need the cover design in month one, you're identifying who is going to design the cover. You're coming up with concepts and inspiration. You're looking for things that you like, the colors that you like, or you're putting it in the hands of the brand designer or the book cover designer, right? And then month two, you're like, okay, I ordered my own, I self published it on Amazon. I didn't launch it though, but I ordered my own copy. I'm going to go through one last time, make sure everything looks good, everything is formatted properly, my last round of edits. And then in month three, I'm going to actually launch it, right? I'm going to have my social media posts. I'm going to plan all of my content to, be scheduled out so that people can know about my book launch. Something along the lines there. This is just off the top of the dome. Okay. So that's for like a book, but you can use that book launch example for you launching your business. If you're trying to update your website, okay, that's one of your quarterly goals for Q4 is to update the website. As you update the website, what all needs to be updating? Do you have multiple pages or is it just a landing page? If you have a landing page, your month one, so in October, you might be like, I need to get clear on all of my messaging. And then in month two, you might want to work with a designer, find a designer to actually do it. Because one thing a designer gonna do is ask you, where's the copy for this? Because they're designers, they are not doing your copy, depending on what kind of designer you got. Okay. And so then you go and now you get your designer, you hand them the copy, and then you use that last month to do any like revisions, edits, and then you launch your website. Okay. Okay. Amy said, Amy said she has 12 themes. Amy, we gonna talk at VIP. Come to VIP, Amy, and we gonna talk. Because we're gonna walk through your 12 things on the session after this. Okay, let me get off of here. Okay, and so we talked about priority mapping, and then this is the alignment check, y'all. I need help with copy. Ash. Okay, Ash, talk to me. I'll text me, Ash. Text me because you talking about some help with copy. Okay, because your websites be fire, first of all. Are you in alignment? This is the alignment check because sometimes we say yes to things and we didn't ask, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this in alignment with the assignment for this season? And so we say, yes, I'm going to do this. And we don't ask ourselves, is this actually in alignment? And so before you commit, because a lot of our problems is we overcommit, we overfunction, right? It doesn't matter the reason, but it's the thing that we do. And so now when somebody like, hey, can you do this for me? Your immediate three questions to yourself should be, does this priority directly support my goal? Whether it's your annual goal, your quarterly goal, or your monthly goal, right? If it doesn't, then already off the top of the dome, you out of alignment. But you might be like, it doesn't directly align, so it won't be a priority for me. But based on this calendar that we're about to map out, you might be like, oh, but I got an extra 2 hours on Wednesday where I can support with this, right? This here is why it's easy for me to say no and not have to think about it. This here is why I never feel obligated to show up for things that I didn't start, okay? This here is why I don't feel obligated to say yes. It doesn't matter who the person is. It's an alignment check. And so, does this priority directly support the goal? Is this gonna directly support the thing that God told you to do? Not, I need to put y'all, I need to put y'all right here so I can be like, because I'm looking over here trying to monitor the chat. Um, the second question in your alignment check, is this the most impactful use of my time? Is this the most impactful use of my resources? Okay. This alignment thing is all about stewardship, time stewardship, people stewardship, money stewardship. Like all of this has to do with stewardship. Is this the most impactful use of my time and my resources? Because sometimes it might be a good use of your time, but it's not a good use of your resources. And so you might say, oh, I'm gonna say yes to doing it because I got time, but you don't really have the resources to do it. Listen, Amy, put them on a flashcard. And then say, what could I eliminate or delegate to make room for this? Because if it's in alignment, but you don't have time to do it, then that's where you are, okay, am I doing something else that I could eliminate or delegate to make room for it? Or because if you saying, because I know somebody on this call is probably thinking, well, everything that's on my plate is in alignment. And wrong, because ain't no way God is setting you up for burnout. We saw it in Exodus. Even your assignment that the Lord gave to you, He's not gonna give it to you. He first of all, he says He's not gonna put more on you than you can bear. And yes, He can give you more capacity. He can increase and expand your capacity, but He's not going to cause you to burn out. But that's what we do, right? In ministry, I can only speak to what I know, y'all. In ministry, we do that all the time. Well, this is in alignment. This is my assignment. The Lord told me to do this. Moses was in his assignment too. But the Lord still calls Jethro to see everything that he had going on and said, Moses, the thing that you're doing is not good. That's why y'all got to watch the morning session replay. Because we talked about this on day 1 and day 2. Listen, This morning we talked about Mary and Martha. So if you came on at the earlier end of this session, I literally kind of did a recap, right? Because Martha was like, this is my house. I'm gonna make sure the Lord has what he needs. Okay. But it says that she was distracted with much serving. And many of you have found yourself to be in the same place as Martha, where you're serving, serving, serving. You serving everybody's vision. You serving everybody else's assignment. And it's become a distraction for you. But we didn't really come here to talk about all of that. Okay? So ask yourself all of these three questions. This is the alignment check. And so then we get into mapping the aligned week. If you want the workbook, get it because it's not going to be available after this reset, okay? Let's map your aligned week. Listen, I ain't come to read nobody mail. I just know how it works. I've heard it all of my I grew up in ministry. I told y'all the other day I was born in ministry. And so I know how it works. I've seen the patterns, okay? I've seen the patterns since I was a little girl. Okay. As we get into mapping your aligned week, I need you to understand priority. Okay. I need you to understand.
It's 7 o'clock.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock, but we finna map this aligned week. If y'all can stay with me. Okay. This is how you're going to maximize your impact by prioritizing everything. Okay. Because you may be like, everything I'm doing is a part of my assignment, right? Everything what I'm doing is what's needed. And I got to do it in this season because everything be a priority for you, right? This is how we're going to break it down. Is this okay? So these are the things that you do now, right? If it's important and aligned and it's urgent, those are the things you're going to focus on for the next quarter, right? If it's important but it's not urgent, then that's when you're going to make a decision. Like, when can I do this? Can I do this in December? Or is this something that I'm going to prioritize January of 2026? If it's not important, and if it's not important but it's urgent, find somebody else who can do it. If it's not important and it's not urgent, that means this thing is not aligned. It doesn't have to be done today. Go ahead and get that up off of your plate. Okay. Go ahead and get that off your plate because that's why you're doing too much because you're trying to do everything. You're trying to show up everywhere. You want to think about how you can achieve the greatest possible impact or influence, right? Without burning out. So how can you use this? This is called the Eisenhower matrix, right? This is how you determine priority. This is going to tell you what to do now, what to do later, what you can give somebody else to do, and what to eliminate altogether. And we'll talk about more of this tomorrow. This is going to help you maximize your impact and evaluate your return on your investment. Okay, because the goal, we already know the goal is to work smarter, not harder. We hear that all the time. And the only way we're going to do that is to delegate, right? To set and enforce our boundaries, and then to implement productivity multipliers, right? And you're probably like, well, what do you mean? What's a productivity multiplier? A productivity multiplier are strategies or tools to help you maximize your productivity. So, for example, let's see. So, let me go back. This little document This little spreadsheet that you can create in all of 10 minutes or less on Google Spreadsheets, it's a productivity multiplier because it's literally these little squares are boundaries. They're boundaries. And these boundaries tell you what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. So it's going to maximize your productivity because it's going to tell you what you can and what you cannot do. Right? A productivity multiplier is okay, I'm using AI, right? Not to um be the person who thinks for me, right? But I'm using AI. Say for instance, you're having to write a lot of emails, right? You can give it the prompt and then let it write your email and then you edit it. It's a productivity multiplier because it saves you time. So think about those different things. Okay. And let me see, because I might have to go back to, let me go back to the map. Okay. So when we get into mapping your line week, this is how it's done, y'all. I'm gonna run through this because for my VIP, we might be able to do a hot seat, okay? But for everyone else, this is what you're doing, okay? And I didn't put the actual example of this, but we start on Sunday, okay? Now that you have your themes, you already know all of the things that you have on your plate. This is what you're going to do. You're going to go from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., right? And you're going to put all of the tasks and give it an assignment or a time block, okay? Some of the things that the questions that I ask when I do these one-on-one sessions is let's start with what's already on your plate. The meetings that you already have. So for example, if you're in a 9 to 5, you're gonna from 9 to 5 block off all the days that you work from that time period and put work. Right? You're just gonna put work. I wonder, can I write on this? I know Zoom got like a whiteboard feature. Let's see what I can do. Let's see. Okay, guys, we might be in luck. Let's see. I don't got no lines. Okay. Ooh, just bear with me, people. So, in this little time block of 9 to 5, this may be work. And I don't know how to make this skinny, this pen skinny, so I can't write in here. But this is going to be work and this is supposed to be just for Monday, okay? But then let's say you off on Wednesday. On Wednesday, you may say, okay, from this time to this time, this is my morning routine. This is really bad. This is what we do on the call, but I'm actually typing into the blocks for you. Um, and so from this time to this time, that's my morning routine. From this time to this time, I'm taking phone calls, right? From this time to this time, I'm doing my deep work session where I'm focusing on the marketing department in my business. So I'm coming up with strategy. I'm figuring out my client acquisition strategy. I'm figuring out my lead gen strategy. And then from here to here, you might be like, okay, this is the time where I'm checking in on my family. Reaching out to my parents who I ain't talked to in 2 weeks. I'm talking to my siblings who I ain't talked to in a good chunk of time. I'm reaching out to my nieces and my nephews to check in on them. Like, this is what it would look like, but this ain't really what it would look like, okay? So just visualize something cute, okay? Let me see. I might be able to show y'all a calendar on my phone because this is real ghetto over here. Real ghetto. Let me see if I can pull it up for y'all. Okay. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Hmm. Okay. So this is what it would look like. And I'm showing y'all a week. Let me see if I can show y'all today. Can't tell. Let's do a day. Okay. So this is what it would look like on a Google Calendar, right? And so all of these time blocks are going to something. And then the white space that tells you where you have capacity, right? And once you see all of this mapped out for your entire week, now you can clearly identify, oh, okay, I have one, two, three, four, five, six. I have 6 hours that I'm free on Monday, right? And then if you go to the next day, you're like, okay, I have about 4 hours that I'm available on Tuesday. And you know, Monday is your meeting day, so you ain't really got no availability on there. And so this is how you map it out on your calendar. And then you color code it just to help you be like, okay, if it's purple, I know that's my business. If it's blue, I know that's my husband. If it's green, I know that's my children. If it's yellow, I know that's my side hustle. If it's red, I know that means I need to write this book. Like, then you color code it, right? And that just helps you identify if you someone who like, I need everything color coded and pretty. Now let me go back to the chat over here. And so this is what you're doing. You're literally gonna do this from Sunday all the way until Saturday. And you're going to everything. And of course, you might not wake up at 5. You might wake up at 9. And then you will do it from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Right? But what you want to do is get clear and give everything an assignment. If you're like, man, I'm in a season where I need to build my website, then you might want to implement deep work. And what that means is deep work is when you focus for like 90 minutes. That's what's recommended, 90 minutes. So you can really get in, have your thinking time, but then actually do the work too. 90 minutes of uninterrupted thinking time or strategy time or implementation time. And so in that 90-minute time block, let's say this is that, you're like, for 90 minutes on Friday, I am going to only focus on doing my landing page for my website, right? If you're writing a book, you're like, for 90 minutes on Friday from, let's say this is 5:30 to, well, this clearly won't be that. But let's say this is 5:30 to 7 a.m. In that 90-minute time block, I'm going to write one whole chapter. I'm going to write at least 20 pages of my book. In this 90 minutes, I am going to create all of the social media graphics for the month of October. In this 90-minute time block, I am going to write 4 SOPs for the customer service aspect of my business. In this 90-minute time block, I am going to go and wash my dishes and sweep the kitchen floor and wipe down the sinks, clean the microwave. In this 90-minute time block, I am going to iron everybody clothes in the house for the rest of the week. And like, you just choose what's gonna go in the 90 minutes, and then you have those 90 minutes all throughout your week, right? And then of course you want to make sure you have some oh, same color. I don't even know how to change these colors. Oh, here we go. You want to make sure you have some buffer time, right? To drink your water, to actually eat during the day, just so you can have a mental break, right? And so when you have all of this mapped out, then you're going to be able to see all of the time that you now have left in your business or in life. Because I use this for like my entire life. If you find that after you did this, that you still don't have no time in your day, and from Monday through Friday is packed, we need to go back here because something is out of alignment, or you're prioritizing something that should be delegated, or something that should be automated, or something that should be eliminated altogether. Okay? Let me know. Y'all got questions on the My Align Week mapping? Do y'all have questions? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat if y'all have questions. And while I'm waiting for y'all's questions, I want to let y'all know again that this do not work unless you do. So I can show you the framework. I can show you exactly the thing that I walk out with my clients, but I sent y'all the video on the knowing doing gap. It's when you know what you should be doing, but there's a gap between the knowing and the actual implementation of the knowledge, right? And so if you can know about deep work and how you can use it to actually execute on the things that you're supposed to be doing, if you can know how to do an alignment check and the questions that you need to ask yourself every time an opportunity or something is presented to you, you can know that information. But if you don't actually ask yourself the questions when the opportunities come, you're going to say yes for whatever reason, and this won't work. If you mapped out your week and you have from Sunday to Saturday no white space, you knew that you were supposed to go back to your alignment check. You knew you were supposed to go back to that Eisenhower matrix where we talk about what we should do right now, what we should do later, what we should delete. All of those things, you have to go back and do that part. Okay. It's the execution. Pray, plan, execute, and repeat. That's how this works. Let me sit at the feet of Jesus like Mary. Let me write this vision. Let me make it plain. Let me plan it, because preparation shows expectation. So I have to plan. But then I can have all the knowledge, I can have all of the strategy, I can have 10,000 productivity hacks that I've learned because I'm listening to everybody on social media telling me the way that they do it and how it works for them. But if you don't execute this stuff, it does not matter. It would have all been a wasted time. It would have all been a wasted time. Okay, now I just need to get this writing off because now I'm just writing on the PowerPoint at this point. Okay, these are the barriers that you might need to overcome because you're like, oh well, I still got a lot. It's not working. My calendar still looks overwhelming and all of the things. So you might need to overcome some things, right? You might need to overcome perfectionism. Yeah, once you do this, you're gonna realize how much you're out of alignment. Barriers you might need to overcome: perfectionism, right? We want things to be perfect, so it takes us forever to get things done, right? Sometimes you're just post a darn video. Why you got 6 versions of the same message in your photos and you still ain't posted one of them? Listen, I'm really just telling y'all what I was saying to myself a few years ago. Girl, let me show y'all something. Let me see if I can show y'all. Cause last night I recorded like 3 different videos. I got this video, didn't post. This video, didn't post. This video, didn't post. Because by the time it was time for me to post it, what the wording that I said in the video, it wasn't aligned no more because the timing was off. And so what should have happened is I should have posted it immediately when I recorded it. But when you doing all the things, right? something gets put on the back burner. What changed for me? You get to the point where enough is enough. You get to the point where I care about pleasing God more than I do pleasing people. These are the things that changed for me because I used to be that girl when it came to content that I had 30 long form pieces of content just sitting there, not posted, all because I said 10 times. Baby, I'm finna y'all like crazy. Because there's some people who's gonna sit here and focus on what she said 15 times. But then there's somebody who's about to overcome because they look past the and the solution to their problem was being communicated. What did I do to change? I stopped caring about what people think. And then outside of that, I just ain't never been no people pleaser, right? There's just some things that by nature I just never was. Sometimes you got to get over yourself, the pride, right? Sometimes we care too much about what people think. We overcommit. Sometimes we assume that somebody's expectation is for us to overcommit and to overfunction. And so we overcommit and we overfunction and we say yes to everything. And these are the barriers that you need to overcome. The lack of accountability. You know how to overcome a lack of accountability? Get accountability. And not just any accountability, right? People who not gonna play, people not who's not gonna accept your excuses. I talked to somebody this weekend and she was like, listen, Ebony, I should have talked to you a long time ago. But she was like, I wasn't ready to receive how you hold people accountable yet. She said, but now I'm ready. I said, then let's get to it. It's simple, right? There's so many groups, right, that are holding people accountable. There's literally groups, people are doing co-working sessions together. That's a form of accountability. People are in mentorship programs. You got to do what you need to do to get accountable. That's what I'm talking, Amy. That's on execution. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Barriers you might need to overcome. A lack of clarity, right? And so, how do you prevent these things? You review your success, celebrate your wins, you map out your milestones, you ask for help, right? Sometimes we're too prideful and we don't like to ask for help. Or we have this spirit of rejection. And so if we're not gonna even ask people for help because they might say no. And if they say no, it's gonna hurt my feelings. Right? And so then we got to deal with the spirit of rejection and deal with that. It really be beyond some of these things. And then another thing you can do, right? If you lack clarity, if you need accountability, if you need someone to walk you through this, because even this whole mapping out of your aligned weeks is like overwhelming, it's too much, you still have questions, you book a aligned week session. And it don't even have to be with me. Like it's people walk. I have a whole webinar where I literally do this exact same thing for free. But sometimes you need to go beyond what's free, that do it yourself and actually invest, right? A lot of this stuff is you got to invest the time, invest your resources to go to the next level. Okay. And so now that you mapped out your line week and you know what your priorities are, what are your next steps? Right? Listen, my sis is on the call. She did a my alignment session and she said, listen, as a wife, mother, and daughter of God, I found myself drowning in responsibilities while working from home. My days were chaotic. I was wasting precious time struggling with this organization and feeling constantly frustrated by my inability to complete work tasks. Distractions seemed endless and I couldn't focus on what truly mattered. Then I discovered Ebony D. James in her Align Week session. This experience was nothing short of transformational. After working with Ebony, I witnessed immediate changes in how I structured my work week. For the first time in months, I began completing tasks on time and with clarity. Can we just clap it up for my sister, because this is what it's all about, right? She said, but the most beautiful outcome was rediscovering those God given passions and projects I had reluctantly placed on the back burner. I realized I hadn't been stewarding my time, okay, according to his purposes. Goes back to that alignment piece. And then she said, Ebony's guidance wasn't just about productivity techniques, it was about aligning my daily rhythms with my deeper purpose and calling. She helped me create systems that honor my roles as both a professional and a servant of Christ. If you're a busy mom, if you're a wife, if you're a student, or anyone struggling to balance multiple responsibilities while honoring your faith, I cannot recommend Ebony D. James enough. Her Align Week session will truly change your life and help you reclaim the time God has blessed you with. Okay. Tamara, this is somebody else. And she was like, I am more physically and mentally healthy from completing this Align Week with Ebony. My days are less stressful. I find myself laughing more, getting more restful sleep, and having increase in quality time with family. I have created healthy boundaries, which has added structure and balance to my business. My clients have even benefited. Listen, what do we say about Exodus? The work that you're doing is not just for you. It doesn't just impact you. If you burn out, it doesn't just impact you, which means in vice versa, if you win, everybody who's attached to you gotta win. So Tamara was like, my clients have benefited from my shift. This is not just about you. They benefited from her shift in scheduled, clear boundaries with her time and more secure knowing they will be served more efficiently. I have clarity like never before and a system on how to be productive with the precious time I had been given each day. Okay. Listen, my sister Paige, she had a long one, but I just kind of put this little snippet. This session literally gave me such a wind of encouragement for this new year. What felt so daunting now feels attainable with the grace of God and discipline to execute. This somebody else. They text me and they said, good morning, Sis Ebony. Hope you are well. Just wanted to say thank you again for the Align Week calendar. It is helping me so much. And then she wrote a different review later. Right. And so I want some more Genevas. I want some more Tamaras. I want some more Pages in the room who can literally say, like, because I implemented on this 3-day challenge, I'm able to produce more. I'm seeing the results. And not only me, my children are seeing the results of the work that I put in, of me getting back into alignment with God's purposes, his plans, his priorities, and his timing for my life. Right? Because here's the truth, 3 days is not enough. This only day 2, but 3 days ain't enough. And for sure, 2 days not. So I need y'all to come back tomorrow. Okay. But then what would happen if you had somebody walk you through this and implement it for the next 7 days? Because on the Align Week sessions from those testimonials, those are just testimonials of me walking them through the My Align Week session. That those weren't even testimonies of me implementing it with them. Okay. So what would happen if you had someone who could walk you through this and implement it for even just the next 7 days? Right? Because I can support with that. But then what could you do if you had an extra 15 hours in your week? What would happen if you had someone who could walk you through this and implement it for the next 3 months? That's October, November, and December. What could you do if you had extra 10 plus hours per week over the next 12 weeks of the year? That's 120 hours that you get to save before the year end. That's crazy. We already dreamed yesterday of like what all we could do with that. I don't know if you came with your homework, but if you just look at them goals that you brought and you're like, well, if I had 120 hours before the end of the year, surely I can check off these 3 goals, right? What could you accomplish in 120 hours? Listen, my mentor, Tiffany Haynes, she just released a book called God's Math. If you haven't heard of it, go run. Don't walk, run to Amazon and go get this book, God's Math. God's math. Okay. In this book, she talks about 1 + 1 = 10,000. And I'm fully persuaded, right? I'm fully persuaded because I've seen the results and the fruit of it that 1 + 1 = 10,000. Fully persuaded. I'm fully persuaded that with the right partner, with the right team member, with the right person, you can literally experience supernatural results before the end of the year. Before the end of the year, you just need the right person. The right person to partner with you in strategy. The right person to partner with you to actually execute the things that you need support with. The right partner who can hold you accountable, right? Who knows? Some of y'all person might be in the chat talking to y'all right now. And here's one thing we know for sure, y'all. We are going to keep saying this over and over and over again. You cannot do this by yourself. You were not made to do this by yourself. If you try, what's going to happen? Y'all just let me know. If you try, the Bible says that you will eventually wear yourself out, and not just you. And we all know that if you could do it by yourself, you would have already done that. We talked about this already, right? And so now that you've seen how to prevent burnout, right? You're probably wondering, well, how do I keep this going? How do I actually get the support I need to truly thrive? The comments were like, well, I don't have the resources. I don't have the resources. And then we go back to our alignment check. What do I need to move around to get the resources? I'll give y'all a little tip of something that I talked to VIP about, because we were talking in VIP last night, and one of the questions that came up, and I was like, well, have you considered bartering? Because sometimes we don't talk about bartering because sometimes we think we above and beyond bartering. But this landing page that y'all all seen, my website for the Empire Effect Agency's Build Without Burnout Reset, that was through bartering. So how can you keep this going? How can you get the support that you really need to thrive? Ask for help, right? You ask for help. And so I want to know if I can help you maximize your time, if I can help you amplify your impact, if I can help you increase your revenue before the year is out, right? Is that something that you all would like me to help you with? Because we just got tomorrow and then we're done, okay? After tomorrow, this 3-day reset is done. You still have to make a decision. And I created an offer. It's the operations management offer. This is going to give you that 120 plus hours that everyone said that they need to accomplish their goals, right? And this service is for CEOs, consultants, coaches, leaders who are done with operating in disobedience, right? For leaders and CEOs and women who have been prioritizing everybody else's assignments and not their own. And they're at this point where enough is enough. Enough is enough of the time wasters. Enough is enough of the distractions. Enough is enough of me being a people pleaser. Enough is enough of me just being afraid to tell people no. Enough is enough of this spirit of rejection holding its grip on me. Enough is enough with the disobedience. I don't have time for that. The people who God has called me to serve does not have time for my disobedience. They don't have time for my procrastination. They don't have time for my excuses. They don't have time for my perfectionism. They need me to show up, and they don't got time to wait. They don't have time to wait. Right? This is for the ones who are looking to go from God ideas to implementation, right? You're like, man, listen, I know this thing that God has given me is for kingdom impact. Let me tell y'all about the people who I work with. I don't work with just anybody and everybody, okay? My goal is to help people maximize their time, scale their impact, and increase their revenue for the kingdom's sake. Because why would I be growing anybody else's business? If it's not for kingdom's sake, then why are we doing it? These are the type of people I work with. Okay? Women like y'all who are ready to grow their businesses without losing themselves in the process. Listen, time and time again, I hear women and they're like, man, I'm doing all of these things, but now I'm losing myself. I don't know what I love. I don't know my hobbies. And now we're just like, oh, it's just been so much. I don't know what to do. Right? What I walk you through with the operations management retainer is the same work framework that I'm literally using to help CEOs reclaim their time. That's behavioral health consultants, that's nonprofit founders, that's agency owners, that's coaches. I'm using this same framework to help them reclaim their time, to grow their teams, and finally have the support not only that they need, but that they deserve, right? That they were designed for all along. And so here's what y'all done. This is what we've all done at some point in time. We've tried all the productivity hacks. Listen, if you go to my save social media posts and you scroll, I guarantee you're going to find at least 100 of them. Productivity hacks. Because I love a good productivity hack because I'm going to implement it and see if it works. But you've been in a lock-in. How many of y'all are in the great lock-in on social media? Everybody started talking about this great lock-in and you like, yeah, I'm finna lock in, right? I'm about to lock in for the great lock-in that the girlies are doing over on the social media platforms. And so you've been locking in for the last 25 days as of today, I believe, right? And still no results, right? I was telling somebody last night in VIP, like, she was like, why don't you just um like how do you keep up with all of the things, all of the new systems and all of the new tools? I'm like, I don't follow the trends. I don't try to keep up with those things, right? Because we've been locked in for 25 days for the great lock-in and what results have been produced, right? If we're still in the same place on day 25 that we started in day one, lock out. Let's go ahead and lock out, okay? And let's do something different. And then we've hired subpar support, right? I know people who like, oh, I'm just gonna go hire a Filipino VA, and shout out to them because they are amazing. Okay, I've worked with them. I manage some right now for a client, right? But what I find is we hire subpar support, whether that's a virtual assistant, whether that's a newing beginning social media manager, because those are the people who are affordable to us in this position that we're in right now. And so we go and try to hire subpar support with little to no return on our investment. So yeah, they can get some stuff done, but it's not saving you your time because you still got to tell them what exactly to do. You got to provide more clarity. You have to go through language barriers, time barriers, right? And then we've also been busy all year with nothing to show for it. And so, if you're ready to 10x your results and start getting real results, here's your next step. Here's your next step. 120 hours, right? 120 hours of operations management and strategy. What does that mean? That means that I'm not coming to just check off your to do list. I'm not here as a virtual assistant to check off your to do list. I combine execution with strategy. Okay, that's what the Empire Effect Agency offers: strategy and implementation, right? And so when you work with me for operations management, you're going to get a strategic planning session. You're going to get an accountability that goes along with that, right? We're going to audit your tech stack, your systems, your processes. And some of you like, I don't have a tech stack. I don't have no systems and processes. And then we're going to develop them, okay? We're going to deal with the project management aspect of your business. If you have a team or you're desiring a team, We're going to manage them, or we're going to put things in place so that you can make your first hire. We're going to optimize your workflows, because a lot of you like, oh yeah, I know what to do, but it's not written down. So we're going to optimize it, simplify the things, document the processes of all the things. We're going to help you get clear on your client journey. What is happening from the time the people are made aware of your business to the time they onboard to the time that they offboard with you? What does that client journey process look like? And then we're going to talk about CRM management, day-to-day implementation. And this is what it looks like, y'all. Onboarding and kickoff the first 2 weeks. We're auditing and assessing all of the things in the next 2 weeks. And then we're implementing and optimizing. And then within the 4 weeks, you're already growing and sustaining. And then you can make a decision after those 120 hours, like, hey, do I want to get another 120 hours for Q1? Or is this what I needed to build my momentum and I can go from here? Right? We got choices here. Right? And I want to go a little deeper with y'all, and then I'm going to get off because I got to go talk to VIP. In month 1, right? It's all about building trust, gathering information, setting the foundation for operational success, right? We're auditing the existing systems or the non-existing systems, the tech stack or the non-existing tech stack, making recommendations, right? We're identifying the gaps, the opportunities. Listen, she said, I need help with customer journey. We go through all of that. And we do the day-to-day implementation of the approved strategy and systems based on the recommendations. Okay. And then we continue. We execute over here. Okay. You can ask anybody who's worked with me and ask them, like, does this girl get things done? They're going to say, oh, yeah, she's an executor and am. Okay. And then we're going to determine the next best steps for the partnership. As I mentioned, at the end of those 120 hours, hey, do you want to continue to keep this momentum going? Do you want to go ahead and start your next 3 goals and make progress on them and actually reach them? And so this is where we continue the partnership. And so more than what I'll do for you, I want you to understand what you'll experience, right? Many people are like, I need more clarity. I need to actually get support with helping me to align my goals. I need to implement this alignment check. And so you're going to experience far more than the work that I'm going to do for you. You're going to experience clarity and alignment around your goals, around your vision, around your next steps, right? It's going to be backed by prayer, because that's what we're going to do. Okay. You're gonna get simpler and smoother tech that saves time and money, because I'm very big on simplifying. Because while we in 10 tools and we're still trying to make $5,000. Okay. Peace of mind. In the testimonial I shared yesterday, that was one of the things that one of the previous clients said. Like, I had peace of mind working with the Empire Effect Agency. Measurable progress. We're going to track the progress. And then efficient workflows. These workflows are going to boost your productivity. They're going to provide you that peace of mind, and you're going to experience ease. I might do my own version of the Exodus 18 teaching, because that was one of the promises that Jethro told Moses that him and the people will experience. For Moses, it was, you're going to experience ease if you implement these things. And he said, and the people will experience peace in their land. Whew, okay. And you're going to experience less overwhelm. All right. You're going to be able to take the trip. You're going to be able to go on that vacation that you talked about yesterday. All right. And so these are the testimonies from yesterday again. She said, listen, the first sentence, Ebony was an absolute pleasure and a game changer for my productivity and my peace of mind. And then Janae, again, she said she's easily been one of the best hires I've made in my business to date. I say this because a lot of service providers can implement, but Ebony always did more than that. She simply made my business better. Okay. And so if all this did was give you back your 10 hours a week with your family, with your spouse, with your loved ones, with your pets, would this be worth it? If it helped you finally take a vacation without worrying about your inbox, would it be worth it? If it helped you finally begin working on your business and not just in your business, would it be worth it? If it helped you to actually launch the thing that you said you were going to launch in January, would it be worth it? If it helped you make an extra $5,000, would it be worth it? Let me tell y'all something. Every day that you stay stuck in the weeds, it costs something. And it doesn't just cost your business, it costs you, it costs the people that you're called to serve, it costs the people who's connected to you, and it costs far more than money, right? Staying stuck is going to cost you your peace. It's going to cost you to miss revenue opportunities. It's going to cost you burnout and overwork. It's going to cost you wasted payroll because when you're hiring people who aren't aligned, right, you begin to spend money on that payroll without a return on your investment. Okay. Also, client churn. When you don't have the support and you're staying stuck, your clients are not going to want to continue working with you year after year after year, right? Staying stuck will cost you your reputation. It's going to cost you your team members because people on your team do not want to be in a position where they're not able to make progress. Like, have you ever been on a team and you're like, man, ain't nobody going nowhere? Some of it is your friendships, your relationships, your friend groups. It's like, man, these are all of my friends and we all stuck, right? This thing will cost you relationships along with peace of mind. And so again, you probably like, I don't have time for this. This whole opportunity is designed to give you your time back. And then for some of you, like, well, I'm not ready. And the thing is, you don't wait till you're ready to get support. You figure out how to get it, how to invest in it. And I can guarantee you that it's going to work for you. If you implement, it's going to work for you. If you hire the right person for the job, it will work for you. All right. This is what's all included. Right. And so you might be even in the foundation of your business. You're in the perfect place right now because now you can build on a solid foundation and you're not having to start the process over and unlearn how you've done business. Now you can start on a solid foundation. You start with strategic planning. You get clear on what your vision, your mission is, what your value proposition is, who your target audience is from the beginning, and then you build from there. Right? And we know the total value is $12,000. If you were to hire the Empire Effect Agency for each of those services separately, over the course of the next 3 months, you'd easily spend over $12,000. But y'all not gonna spend much money. Like y'all not gonna do that, okay? Because you've been a part of Build Without Burnout, right? You won't even pay $7,500. And these are numbers that people are paying for this type of support, okay? But you're not going to pay $7,500 either. Instead, your total investment for 120 hours over 3 months is $6,000. That's it. $6,000 to gain an extra 120 hours so that you can produce results, so that you can get a return on your investment. Only $6,000 to work with the Empire Effect Agency for 3 months. How much does it cost for your peace of mind? If you could put a price tag on your peace of mind, how much would it cost? If you could put a price tag on rebuilding relationships in your family, how much would it cost? If you could put a price tag on you making your first 6 figures, how much would it cost? If you could put a price tag on you selling out your next offer during your next launch, your next conference, how much would it cost? Because sometimes we look at the price and we think like, oh, that's too big. I can't afford that. But when you don't invest in yourself, you're it's costing you something. You just got to identify how much is it costing you, right? And so here's the thing. I need you all to remind yourself again, who is impacted if you burn out? That was the first question we asked on day one's PM session. Go watch the replay if you missed it. Who is impacted if you burn out? Okay. Let me tell y'all something. This offer expires when the 3-day reset ends. After tomorrow, this offer goes away, right? And so, for the fast action bonus, for those of you who say, listen, I need this, I'm going to find a way to invest in myself. I am going to figure it out. I am going to do it. This is what's going to happen. If you go ahead and purchase even today, okay? If you purchase today, I'm also going to include EA for a week. Now, EA for a week is another offer that I support with clients for those of me who want to work with me for just a week, right? You're like, hey, I want to work with Ebony for a week. I need clarity. I need quick wins. I need immediate relief. I'm going to also give you EA for a week where I'm going to help you get quick wins on top of all of the operations. EA is executive assistance for a week. So this is the administration pieces. This is, that hands-on support, that day-to-day, the getting in the nitty-gritty of things, right? It's supporting with inbox, with calendar, with travel plans. It's helping you get organized in your business, setting up systems in your business for organization. And it comes with a 30-day support plan of like what you need to do for the next 30 days for sustainable growth, right? And so here's your investment options. You can work with me for the next 3 months for $6,000 and you can pay in full today. And that's going to get you 3 months of operations management and strategy. That's 120 hours. And it's also going to include EA for a week. You can pay that in full, or you can break it down into 2 monthly payments of $3,050, right? 3 months of operations support, that's 120 hours for you to gain back before the end of the year, plus administration support to help you get in order. Okay. And so you can click the link. I don't know if you can click the link in YouTube, but I'm going to type it in the chat. Okay. For those of you who are interested, you can go to the empireeffectagency.com/operations and you can choose how bad you want your peace of mind. You can choose how bad do you want to accomplish the things that you were going to accomplish at the beginning of the year, right? And I want y'all to lock in with me, okay? Because when you lock in with me, you see results. You see the fruit of your investment, okay? And so come on and lock in with me for the rest of the year. And guess what, y'all? The space is limited. Okay, I told y'all I don't work with anybody and everybody. And because I care about my own capacity, I only can work with 3 people for Q4. I only have 3 more people who I can support in Q4. Okay, let me pull this chat back up. Yes, okay. So the chat. Are there any other options? So yes, if you go, I don't know if you have PayPal, but you can also go on there and you can use PayPal later. I think that's one. And then also, depending on how your Klarna, Afterpay, or Affirm are set up, you can also use that. So like if you put the money on the card, it's a new way that they do it now where you can just put the money on the card and use it as a debit card, and it still breaks it up into whatever payment plan you choose. And yeah, so here's some frequently asked questions like, what if I don't have the time right now? What do I do? And we already talked about that, right? Some people say, why is it a 3 month commitment? Because this is what I found in the 13 years that I've been doing this, y'all. Transformation takes time, right? I can get you your quick wins in a week, but transformation is going to take time, right? It's going to require strategy. It's going to require assessment. It's going to require implementation, but also as we implement, we still need to monitor like, okay, is this working? Is this not working? And then refine it so that when we continue the thing that we repeat, right? Because we pray, we plan, we execute, and then we repeat. But if we're repeating the same things that didn't get us a return on the investment, then we miss the refining piece to that. So that's why it takes a 3 month commitment, because I don't want you to work with me and then the first month you're like, well, why haven't I did this, and this? And you had great big expectations, but we needed to rebuild from the foundation up. Okay. And then you're like, well, how do I know this is worth the investment? Right? Go back to the point of like, what's the cost of staying stuck? For many of our clients, that 6,000 investment, it pays for itself within weeks. And that's not just in revenue. Yes, some people, listen, I was working with a client literally last month, and we were working on a proposal. And this is me supporting her with strategy, building her business out from the ground up, right? She was already an expert in what she did. We just needed to package that. I supported her with a proposal, and within a week of us sending and submitting that proposal, my client signed and secured 500K. 500K. This is over the course of a year. So if you go ahead and you put $500,000 in your calculator, and then you divide that by 12 months, because that's the period of the contract, how much she making every month? How much is she making every single month? This is why the investment is worth it. This is why. Somebody let me know in the chat, how much is it? $500,000 divided by 12. And that's just off of one contract, one proposal that we sent out. That's not all of the people who she support. Okay. And so I just came to tell y'all time is now. I don't know if y'all been sensing it, but there's a sense of urgency for kingdom women, kingdom business owners to arise, right? It's your time to arise. Like there's a sense of urgency that we can't continue to make excuses to procrastinate, because one thing I can tell you that the world, they ready. I don't even be on TikTok, but whenever I go on TikTok, there's always at least one person on live, and they doing their tarot card readings. And they'll stay on there for hours to do their tarot card readings. They're gonna stay on there till they meet their quota. And I don't know what their quota is. But I be like, they on here, they stay on here. They be on here consistently. Meanwhile, we're still waiting for the right time. This is your time. Okay? This is your time. Arise and shine. Okay? Let's build your business without burnout. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go talk to VIP, y'all. Okay? Tomorrow, we're talking about the 15-minute exercise. that's going to expose exactly what you need to stop doing immediately. And then we're going to get into the task that you did in day one in your calendar from today. And then we're going to literally begin to come up with your delegation plan to let you know what you need to stop doing completely, what you need to delegate to somebody else. And we can talk about ways in which that looks like, what you need to keep on your plate, and then what can be automated. Okay. All right. Last chance to get this workbook. Last chance to get the workbook. And then homework. Finalize your task audit. I know y'all said y'all got a lot of tasks and it's just too much to do in one day, but y'all got another night, a whole nother day to finalize your task audit because you're going to need it for tomorrow's assignment. And then for those of you who did not get a chance to finish mapping out your aligned week, go ahead and complete that as well before tomorrow's 6 p.m. session. And for those of you who are like, I need to walk with somebody to do this, I will send the link in the recap email if you want to book a session with me to work with me one-on-one so we can develop out yours. Okay. All right, VIP, come join me over here on the Zoom. And for everyone else, thank you all so much for sticking with me for day 2. I hope you received something. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from today in the chat. Anything that stood out to you, anything that slapped you in the face, because I be talking and stuff be slapping me in my face, right? Let me know what was the biggest thing for you for today. And then everybody else come and join me over here.
It's 8 o'clock.
Zoom, it's 8 o'clock. I gotta go because these were supposed to be an hour. Okay, bye y'all. I don't know how to get off of here, guys.